What's going on, everybody? This is No Filter, a Nintendo podcast, and here's my little tour of my original 3DS. I'm going to be going over the entire system, show you all the games that I've purchased, and I even organized a lot of them into different categories here. Games from Nintendo, Essential, eShop games, Hidden Gems, regular 3DS games, retail games I've downloaded, DSIware games, Virtual Console, demos, and trailers. Quite a few games here. I was heavily involved in the 3DS. It was one of my first systems where I kind of had, my full job at that time, and really kind of grew up with this one, and was heavily involved in every game that kind of came out. If it interested me, I was getting it day one, and I was checking on the eShop every week. So I was heavily involved in the 3DS, and it's one of my favorite systems of all time. I even collect 3DS systems. Anyway, let's just get started here. So. Just going to go over all the games here first. First one I want to go over here is Nintendo games. So, first thing I guess we should go over here first, though, is some of the games I left out on the front here. I kept all of the 3D classics that I've purchased. I left them all here. So, Streets of Rage 2, Afterburner 2, Galaxy Force 2, and 3D Classics Twinbee. All really gorgeous. I love the 3D aspect in this, and I love the 3D in the 3DS in general, but those games really show them really well. Unchained Blades, which I believe was a PSP or PS2 RPG before. Hometown Story, have not played through all of this. I just know that this was from the creator of Harvest Moon, so I just didn't really pay much attention to it. Mega Man Legacy Collection, again, you can play this on other systems, so I didn't really call too much attention to it. And Senran Kagura Burst. Never actually played that one, but I hear Senran Kagura's interesting series. But yeah, anyway, I have other apps, but I'll do a separate video of just going over apps and everything else on the 3DS. But yeah, let's get going here into the game recommendations that I have. Let's play. So yeah, first one here, Mario Golf World Tour. Really, really fun Mario Golf game. I really got heavily invested in that one. Well worth the play. Fire Emblem Awakening. The resurgence of Fire Emblem, and one of the best Fire Emblems I've ever played. Again, this is all Nintendo games here. So next here, actually here, let me go with just using the D-pad here now. Fire Emblem Fate's Birthright. I decided to get both Fire Emblem games as downloads, not as physical, just so I could have them on my 3DS all the time. 3D Classics Excite Bike. Oh, that's one I forgot to include down below. But yeah, this is a really, really good game. The 3D looks extra crazy in this game. One of the better showcases of 3D. Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. Fantastic. Probably the best Rhythm Heaven game. Just so many games in it. Just really fantastic game. Harmonite. I believe this is from Game Freak, and it's a really, really good rhythm game. Another good rhythm game. A lot of fun. Pushmo, Stretchmo, and Crashmo. Kind of the premier eShop Nintendo games. Really good puzzle games. I believe they had Pushmo World on the Wii U. And yeah, no, they're fun games for sure. Box Boy, Box Boy, and Bye Bye Box Boy. The kind of the trilogy of the Box Boy games here. Really fun, unique, and just interesting games from, I believe, HAL, which is interesting. But yeah, good game, or good games. Dylan's Rolling Western, another one of the premier eShop games from Nintendo. I never ended up playing the other two, just played this one, but it is still a pretty fun game for what it is. Pretty ambitious at the time for an eShop game. Sakura Samurai Art of the Sword, honestly one of the best games on the eShop. It's a lot of fun, very difficult, but I just love the aesthetic. I love kind of the gameplay. The gameplay in general is pretty fun. It's a good game. Quetzal's Corridors, another heavily marketed game, I guess you could say. Kind of has that Tetris vibe going with it, kind of Tetraminos, but yeah, it's just basically like that game show Hole in the Wall or whatever, which is pretty funny. But yeah, it's a good game. Pokemon Rumble World, never really played it. Pokemon Picross, love Picross games. They're amazing on 3DS. Pokemon Shuffle, Yeah, another puzzle game on 3DS. Pokedex 3D. That was cool to see all the Pokemon in 3D. DDD's Drum Dash Deluxe. That's actually a really fun little rhythm game. Kirby Clash Deluxe. Didn't really play that one much. Curse Sploosh. One of the first eShop games I got. I love this one. I remember this being shown off in a direct, and I bought it right away. Picross 3D Round 2. Was so excited to see this was even announced. But yeah, really fantastic puzzle game. My Nintendo Picross, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. If you, again, the 3DS eShop is closing down soon, so please go and take a look at this game right away. Steel Diver Sub Wars. Yeah, no, this was kind of like the online sequel, I guess you could say, to Steel Diver, which is pretty interesting. Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. Really cool, really different kind of idea, and Nintendo was really kind of throwing a lot of darts at the dartboard around the 3DS and Wii U era here, and really trying out new things, and this is definitely one of those, and it's a pretty cool game. Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge. Yeah, I never really did much with this. Metroid Prime Blast Ball. Really cool. It's kind of surprising when they announced it, and it just, they were obviously trying to go after some of that Rocket League kind of hype at that time. But yeah, so those are Nintendo games. The rest here are now all third party and different games. So these are essential eShop games that I noted here. So Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice for Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Both fantastic games. Absolutely love the series and definitely worth the play. SteamWorld Dig, Fistful of Dirt. Again, one of the premier 3DS games. Looked really good in 3D. And especially SteamWorld Heist was amazing on 3DS. You can also pick up SteamWorld Dig 2. I don't have that on 3DS. I got that on Switch. Mighty Switch Force, another premier Nintendo 3DS game. Again, these are much more, you've heard of these games. I'll be getting to hidden gems later, but Mighty Switch Force and Mighty Switch Force 2 from Way Forward. Absolutely love these games. They look amazing in 3D, and I just love them from start to finish. The soundtrack is also amazing from Vert, Jake Kaufman. Art of Balance Touch, again, another premier eShop game. Love this on here. I believe it was on Wii and on Wii U as well. Really fantastic game. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, probably my favorite Shantae game released. It's really fantastic, and I hear the physical edition is incredibly difficult to find. Mutant Muds and Mutant Mud Super Challenge, again, premier eShop games. When I think of the Nintendo 3DS eShop, I think of these games, and they're fantastic games from Renegade Kid. Really a lot of fun. Zeo Drifter, again, basically a different take on Metroid, but from the same developers as Mutant Muds. Really fun game. Chicken Wiggle. This is kind of like it's a different, unique platformer, but it takes a lot of the creation aspect of Mario Maker and makes it into its own game, and it was a lot of fun. I really like that game too. Again, from Renegade Kid or Atui. Azure Striker Gunvolt. Love this new unique kind of series that came out of the 3DS from Inti Creates. Same with Azure Striker Gunvolt 2. And then they also did Mighty Gunvolt, which is like I believe this was the 8-bit kind of style, and it was really a lot of fun. Gunman Clive and Gunman Clive 2. These were kind of highly regarded 3DS eShop games because they were super cheap, but then very high quality for what they were. So yeah, those are fun games. Bit Trip Saga, the Bit Trip series in general around the Wii era were huge. So getting all of the games on this collection here was fantastic, and it's definitely a must buy if you haven't played them yet. Blaster Master Zero, another Inti Creates game, fantastic game, love it. Moon Chronicles, again from Renegade Kid or Atui. Yeah, it was a remake of the Moon game on the DS, but it was released in like parts, I believe, which is a little weird, but still good. Getting into all the Guild series of games. So Attack of the Friday Monsters, again, fantastic game. Liberation Maiden from Suda51 and Grasshopper. Crimson Shroud. Not as good as people like to make it out to be, but it is a fun kind of tabletop type Dungeons and Dragons, I guess, type RPG, I guess.
Welcome, Mr. Guest.
The Starship Dammery. I really like this game. It was a fun, quick kind of adventure game. Interesting story. I liked it. Arrow Porter, fun little puzzle game. Weapon Shop de Omase. I'll let him say it. It's It's decent. It's not amazing, but I did like how unique it was, and it's kind of an engaging idea of playing the weapon shopkeeper of an RPG. And Bugs vs Tanks. I believe this is from Keiji Inafune. Probably one of the worst guild games, but it's okay. Yumi's Odd Odyssey. Really like this game. Really a lot of fun. I just remember they were in Blade Strangers and a few other games, I think, that Yumi, so I had to pick this game up, and it was a lot of fun. Nano Assault EX. Yeah, this is another premier 3DS eShop game. Really, really fantastic. It's from Shinin, and you'll see another couple games from them in here too. VV. You can play this kind of everywhere, but yeah, it's a fun, really fun platforming game. Yeah, Jet Rocket 2, The Wrath of Takai, or Takai. Again from Shinin. This is one of the few actual 3D platformers on the 3DS. It does have a mix of 2D and 3D, but yeah, one of the few that actually has full 3D levels, which is I wish there was more of on the 3DS. And I think this last one is Cave Story, kind of a cult classic cave story, and it's kind of highly regarded now as one of the best kind of 2D platformers out there. Okay, yeah, so those are all the essential 3DS eShop games. Now going on to my hidden gems, and these are actual hidden gems, games that aren't really talked about much. As you can see, I went over a lot of them that we already do talk about a lot, but here are like legit hidden gems that I would suggest for people to check out. Siesta Fiesta, fantastic game. It's like a brick breaker, but you're kind of moving through almost like highly designed 2D levels, and has really gorgeous visuals, nice music, just a lot of fun to play. Bomb Monkey from Renegade Kid or Atui, really awesome puzzle game. Really like this game a lot, and you can play the game on with the 3DS on its side, which is cool. Parascientific Escape Cruise in the Distant Seas, and Parascientific Escape Gear Detective. I can't talk today. This is basically for those who like the visual novel type games like 999 or Professor Layton or Ace Attorney. So these are kind of the 3DS eShop ones I would suggest for players like that. Steel Empire, I believe this is a remake of a Genesis game, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's fantastic on the 3DS. Looks gorgeous in 3D. It's a nice shooter. Hazumi, this is kind of it's a puzzle game, but it's kind of like a platformer where you're trying to kind of break different blocks as you have a ball that's kind of bouncing around, kind of like another brick breaker type of a game. It's really fun. Air Race Speed, fun, kind of not racing game. It's more like a high, or like a speed game, and it's kind of like a high score, like try to go through the level as quick as you can without dying. It's a lot of fun, and looks really good in 3D. Hyperlight EX reminds me a lot of Super Stardust, which is an awesome series. So this was a lot of fun. I played this game a ton. The Legend of Kusakari. Now, I love the idea, the concept of this game. The concept is a little better than the actual execution, but the game still is a lot of fun to play, and I highly recommend it. It's basically the cutting grass sections of the Legend of Zelda games that everyone loves. It makes that into an actual high score kind of competitive game with different levels that you go through, and it's really a lot of fun. Really cool.
Let's do this.
The Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures. Surprisingly really good 2D platformer. Very tough, but really a lot of fun, and controls really well. Same with this one, Blasting Agent Ultimate Edition. It's I believe there's a demo in the eShop. You can go take a look at it, but it's a really well-made little 2D side-scroller. Very kind of bare bones, not anything too crazy, but for a 3DS eShop game, this was really kind of a shining gem in there. Pirate Pop Plus, really fun kind of game, reminding me a lot of older kind of Game Boy games and stuff like that. Looks really cool, plays good, and it's a lot of fun. Very addictive arcade style game. Yep, same with Noi 2 Love Devolution, really a lot of fun. Chain Blaster, I know a lot of people have talked about this, but I still kind of find it as a hidden gem a little bit. It's a shooter, but it has kind of a unique chain blasting mechanic that can kind of shoot and kill a bunch of enemies chained together as one. Titan Attacks, kind of a fun arcade game. Again, nice little shooter. Night Sky, this used to be, I believe, kind of everywhere, but not a lot of people talk about it now, so I included that in the hidden gems. It's a fun sort of platforming game. It's unique. It's cool. The Delusions of von Sottendorf and His Square Mind. A unique puzzle game, kind of like a 3D action puzzler game. It's interesting. I'd say take a look at it if you're into those kind of puzzle games. Maybe watch a trailer first to see if you really get into it. Ika-chan, from the creator of Cave Story. It's a fun sort of 2D side scroller, not as good as Cave Story, but still kind of a fun, interesting little game to try out. Escape Vector, pretty addictive kind of 2D puzzle game, kind of running through these kind of like data points and circuits, and it's pretty interesting. Whoa Dave, this is from the creators of I think it's Gaijin Entertainment, the people who created the Bit Trip Saga game, the Bit Trip series. Yeah, it's a fun arcade style game. And I believe this last one, Edge. Yeah, Edge. It's a fun puzzle game, kind of puzzle platformer where you're kind of rolling on a cube throughout the whole level. It's kind of a lot of fun. Yeah, so those are all the hidden gems. Now into 3DS games, I'll go through these quickly. These ones are decent games. They're I didn't really buy too many that were really bad or anything, but some of these just didn't hit quite home with me, but they could be of interest to you. Citizens of Earth had some quirks with it, but it reminds me a lot of Earthbound. Ironfall Invasion, a free to play or free to start 3D action game. Actually really impressive for what they did here. Looks gorgeous, and it's a full 3D third person shooter. Fractured Soul. This is very close to being on the hidden gems list, but it's one of those games where you play on the top and the bottom screen, and it's kind of interesting. ATV Wild Ride 3D, again from Renegade Kid or Atui. It's a fun racing game, one of the better ones on 3DS actually. Air Raid Xeno, the sequel to Air Raid Speed. Another World 20th Anniversary Edition. First time I played this and beat it. It was actually a lot of fun, but it is still does show its age a little bit. Can be frustrating. Iron Combat War in the Air, not bad, but it's not as good as like Liberation Maiden. But it's a fun little kind of mech action 3D action game. Tokitori, fun little puzzler, not amazing. Tokitori 2 was much better. The Legend of Dark Witch, kind of a fun little puzzle platformer game. Cube Tactics, another kind of puzzle game. Urban Trial Freestyle, everyone kind of knows these Trials games. But yeah, so this is one of the 3DS. I've Got to Run, Complete Edition, just kind of an automatic runner. Eternal Blade, I really wanted to really like this game. The developers put a lot of effort into it. Just isn't quite there, but it is a decent game worth a play, I'd say. Demon King Box, kind of an interesting kind of tower defense puzzler kind of a game. Puzzle Box setup, again, yeah, just a puzzle game. It's not amazing, but it was kind of interesting. You play the game actually upside down. BitBoy Arcade, same developer as Puzzle Box setup. I was supporting him a lot during the 3DS era. Pix 3D, not that great. Tap and Go, not that great either. Sumiko, kind of decent puzzle game. Zen Pinball, they were big everywhere on the 3DS. Shift DX, a pretty fun game if you haven't played the Shift games before. Johnny Kung Fu, not that great. Blast 'em Bunnies, not that great either, but it's kind of like a tower defense game. IFO, just kind of a basic shooter. Birdmania 3D, a very cheap kind of automatic scrolling platformer. Just kind of a weird arcade shooting game. Outdoors Unleashed, Africa 3D. Lightspeed, kind of a mediocre racing game. Van Helsing, kind of a mediocre shooting game. 10-1 Arcade Collection, it's okay. Sky Piece, very close to being on the Hidden Gems list. Very cheap at the time on the 3DS, and it was just a lot of fun to kind of play through. Again, kind of automatically scrolling and no shooting, but you're just kind of collecting coins and trying to get a high score. RPG Maker, never really played much of that. Okay, on to retail and other games. So these are games that I could purchase on retail, but I didn't do it at the time. Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure. I do own this physically as well. Fantastic game. I believe I got this with a Humble Bundle actually, which is pretty amazing. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy, amazing set of games. Etrian Odyssey Untold, the Millennium Girl. The Etrian Odyssey series is fantastic on the 3DS. Chase Cold Case Investigations. I believe this is from the same developers who did Hotel Dusk, and this is kind of a sequel to that, and a sequel to Jake Hunter Detective Chronicles, I believe. That was on DS. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Again, this is one of those games that you can play on so many different platforms, but I did love it on the 3DS. The 3D looked amazing. Order Up, fantastic, fantastic game. This would easily be on the Hidden Gems list, but I think it is best played on the Wii with the motion controls, but I did like it on the 3DS as well. Love this game. Inazuma 11. Yeah, really fun. First time I ever played one of these Inazuma games, and I would love to see more come to the Nintendo systems, at least in the in North America. Runbow Pocket. Loved Runbow on the Wii U. Runbow Pocket, not as good. Runbow is best played at parties with multiple people, but fantastic music, really fun game. Really kind of an icon of the era for Nintendo's eShop. Ollie Ollie, just recently played Ollie Ollie World. Really cool to see the series go so big, but yeah, really fun. Really kind of big tentpole again for downloadable games back then. Story of Seasons, from the developers of Harvest Moon, but something about the licensing and the name, they couldn't use it anymore. So yeah, but either way, still a really fun game. Severed. I'm trying to remember what the original game was, but Severed's a really fun kind of first-person dungeon crawler, but with some really cool mechanics that you can use with the touchscreen. It's really a lot of fun. Swords and Soldiers 3D. Again, just because this is on so many other systems, I didn't include it as a hidden gem, but I would easily put this as a hidden gem. I love this game and its sequel as well on the Wii U. Really fantastic strategy, kind of tower defense style game. The Keep, a really, really good dungeon crawler. I believe it's on the Switch now too, so again, I did include that in the Hidden Gems list. And Retro City Rampage, I believe Shakedown Hawaii also came out recently later, but yeah, this is a lot of fun, Retro City Rampage, really a lot of fun. Okay, last group of real games here, or actual 3DS eShop games. We have the DSIware games, SteamWorld Tower Defense, one of the first games I got on DSIware, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, really good, still holds up today. Dark Void Zero, one of the best DSIware games for sure, better than the Dark Void games that have come out. It's a really, really good 2D kind of Metroidvania style game, not too large, but yeah, a lot of fun. Mighty Flip Champs, another one from Way Forward, that one's a really good one. Mighty Milky Way, a kind of a pseudo sequel. Not as good as Mighty Flip Champs, but still a fun game. Soul of Darkness, kind of aping the Castlevania style of game. Metal Torrent, fun shooter. Zelda 4 Swords Anniversary Edition, again, Zelda 4 Swords, really cool. Got that, I believe, for free. Escape, always heard about this game being one of the kind of unique and touted Nintendo games. Yeah, it's a really cool and fun game. I believe, I'm trying to remember his name, but I believe he helped create Star Fox, and so he did some of that game as well. Zenonia, Gameville, yeah, it's an RPG that was on mobiles back in the day. Flip the Core, it's a decent little shooter. WarioWare Touched. Air Race Tunnel, again, I just like the Air Race kind of brand. I love the other two games, so yeah, that's the original one on the DSiWare. And yeah, and that's it. So I guess we did have another section here, is Virtual Console. I'm going to go through these really quickly because, as you guys can see, I was an ambassador. I did buy the 3DS on launch day, so I got the ambassador program. So I got a bunch of these NES and the GBA games. So we got Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, Super Mario Brothers, Balloon Fight, one of my favorites, NES Open Tournament Golf, also one of my favorites, Metroid, Blaster Master, awesome, I think I bought that one separately, Donkey Kong Jr., Ice Climber, I think I bought that one too, Yoshi, Wrecking Crew, Super Metroid, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Zelda Oracle of Seasons, Shantae, Toki Tori, Metroid 2, Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Metroid Fusion, Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones, Zelda, The Minish Cap, WarioWare Inc., Mega Micro Games, Wario Land 4, F-Zero Maximum Velocity, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance 3, Kirby, and The Amazing Mirror. That is a lot of Virtual Console games there too. And just kind of the last things here, I just had a bunch of demos. I just recently upgraded the SD card on here to 64 gigabytes, so I can fit as much demos as I can as well. So, you know, Pocket Card Jockey, a bunch of these other games, Etrian Odyssey 5, Rayman Origins that I have as well, Sonic Boom, Sonic Lost World, which is a lot of fun actually on 3DS, Kingdom Hearts 3D. Yeah, a lot of games there. And then the other thing that I downloaded, every single one I could possibly have and keep, was all of the 3D trailers that they had on the eShop. So like the 3D visual experience, Ballad of the Goddess, Legend of Zelda main theme medley, Zelda Link Between Worlds. You got all of these 3D animated Kid Icarus animes. You have the actual game trailers, Metroid Samus Returns, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. You know, have all of these type of games and all these trailers. You have Resident Evil Revelation, Star Fox 64 3D, all these from E3, Paper Mario. So yeah, just the fact that I kept all of these and they don't actually allow you to download most of them anymore, I love it. And going back and seeing kind of the promotional material for these games was just a lot of fun to have, and glad I'm going to have these always on this 3DS and hopefully just doesn't crap out anytime soon. But yeah, there you go, guys. That's all of the games I have on here. I didn't go over kind of the apps like Flipnote Studio, Colors 3D, or Badge Arcade or anything like that. But I'm going to be going over a kind of a whole overview of the 3DS in a separate video here, going over all the themes that I have, all the badges that you have. Because again, I have a lot of themes, a whole bunch of them, as well as all the badges. As you can see, I have some of them set up here. I made the background blank for this so I won't have too distracting music or anything, and you can see these clearly. But yeah, Star Fox, you have a bunch of different badges that you can use. But yeah, I'll be going over all those in a separate video, so please stay tuned for that. But yeah, guys, the 3DS, again, I grew up with the 3DS. It's one of my most fond systems, you know, in my memory, and I'm definitely going to be very nostalgic for it. Again, I collect the 3DS systems, and I have as many physical games as I can. But yeah, it's sad to see the eShop go, but I do think it's a little early for Nintendo to do that. But at the same time, you know, we all knew it was going to happen at some point. And yeah, RIP 3DS. I'm glad I have all of these amazing games here as memories. But yeah, I hope I gave you guys some good suggestions for games for you to pick up. As you can see, I have quite a few games here if you want to see. So these are all the eShop essentials and all of the hidden gems right there. So look out for those. Yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.